Welcome, New Providence Baptist Church. Once again, I stand before you to bring you some words of encouragement, but also to offer to you some insight. Over the last couple of days, we have been hearing about different communities, different counties, different cities, preparing to open up their churches to worship. Some have supposed that it will be on the 31st of May, that they will allow us again to come together and worship both physically and spiritually. I understand the need for fellowship. I understand the need to be close with one another. I myself personally do miss it. I enjoy seeing the faces and the smiles of individuals here at the New Providence Baptist Church. I enjoy hearing their hellos and howdy-doos. But I am also cautious about this sudden opening, because I feel that first and foremost that we do not have all the information that we need to have to open up our doors safely. I am reminded of the fact that when God instructed Noah to shelter in place in the ark, even though Noah had faith in God to build the ark, if Noah had not gone into that ark, he would have died as the rest of them died. When God instructed Israel on the eve of the Passover to shelter in place and instructed them to put the blood on the doorpost and over the overhead, if they had not done that, their firstborn would have died like all the rest. I think there must be steps that must be taken and plans that must be made for us to open effectively and efficiently enough and safely enough for we can feel comfortable about allowing our members to come together. One of the first things that I am concerned about is, one, the lack of testing. Individuals need to be tested. Unfortunately, we don't know who has and who does not have this virus. We don't know how it's transmitted. We don't know how long it lives on cloth, how long it lives on wood, how long it lives on metal. We need to understand that. We don't understand how one person can have it but yet be asymptomatic. We need to have clarity on those issues before we open up. But we also need to have a plan that when we open up, one, our buildings have been appropriately disinfected. From floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, we should have by now disinfected our houses of worship. But also, once we open up, how do we maintain that standard, that level of disinfecting in our houses? One, because if we come together and your sanctuary can hold, we'll say 400 people, that does not mean you can allow 400 people to come in, because we still must maintain a safe distance from one another. And if we allow 40 or 50 people to come in at one time, we have services, those people leave, and we're anticipating 40 or 50 more coming in. In between one group leaving and one group entering, we need to take time to disinfect our churches again. We need to have hand washing stations at our points of entry and exit. We need to have individuals that with masks on. All these issues have to be addressed. We have to be able to address the issue of sanitation in our bathrooms. Amen. We have to understand that even when we come together and worship physically together, that there can be no hugging, there can be no handshaking. All of these issues have to be addressed before we just swing open the gates and allow us to come together again. So I'm letting you know, New Providence, that if they decide to announce or proclaim that we as a church or churches can open up on May 31st and have worship service, we will not be having services until we as a body of believers can address all of those issues. Because I believe in God and I have faith in God. I understand that God is in control, but God has given us an intellect that we must use and that we must address in times like this. Let us think on these things. Let us